Have you ever heard of a tribe whose men tower over any professional basketball player you might encounter? Where exceptional height is not merely a matter of inheritance, but a genuine part of collective pride, a symbol of their identity and connection to their ancestors. This tribe is the Dinka, the tallest people in Africa. But their height is far from the only thing that makes them so exceptional. They bear special marks that cannot be bought in any market or obtained by any other means. These are visible signs proving that a person has already become an adult, and if you do not have them, no one will listen to you, whoever you may be. They live alongside their cattle, cover their hair with ash, and never call livestock property, but rather family. Each animal here is an inseparable part of a person's life. This is a tribe in which strict rules still apply, where honor and status are not up for debate, they are seen. And what you are about to see next will never be shown on television. In the heart of South Sudan resides a people about whom almost no one speaks and of whom few know. It seems as if they were created on direct order from the National Basketball Association. Perfect height, impressive physical attributes, but without publicity, without advertising, and without contracts. This people are the Dinka, one of the tallest peoples in the world. The average height of men here ranges from 185 to 210 centimeters. Yes, it is not a myth, not a pretty legend, but an officially documented fact, confirmed by anthropologists and thousands of astonished tourists. But what is truly remarkable is not just their height, but that within the community it is not considered anything unusual / Beyond height, the first thing that catches the eye is their hair, densely covered with ash. But this is by no means a decorative element or a random aesthetic touch. For them, ash is something much deeper, part of daily hygiene, a means of body protection, and an important component of culture. This ash is obtained from cattle dung, which is burned here with special reverence, for cows in their beliefs are considered sacred beings that give life and necessary sustenance to the tribe. The ash is applied by hand, and it is spread generously from the roots of the hair to the very tips, giving the hairstyle a distinctive, almost silvery gray color and a thick texture. To an outside observer, it may seem like just a hairstyle or a kind of fashionable style, but for the Dinka it is something far greater, a way to remain true to themselves and their ancestors, an expression of deepest respect for nature, for the land on which they live, and for the generations who lived here before them. Through ash, they demonstrate their reverence for the world of nature, for the fertile earth, and for rituals handed down from generation to generation. It is not just an external appearance, but an inner symbol of belonging and trust. Whoever does not wear ash is automatically considered an outsider. However, there is something even more curious. The highest level of trust a Dinka man can obtain does not come from the elders or from the warriors, but from the woman who is his wife. Dinka women wear special clothing that indicates their status and marital position. Unmarried girls dress in such a way that observers immediately understand. This young soul is pure and chaste. But as soon as they enter into marriage, their wardrobe is supplemented with a new element. A skirt made of coarse, yet sturdy goat's wool, which not only provides protection but also symbolizes the transition to a new social role. In addition, they adorn themselves with numerous necklaces and bracelets made of beads, and some women even wear beaded corsets or wear dozens of necklaces that fully cover the chest. Long hair in this tribe is not valued. On the contrary, a nearly completely shaved head is considered the epitome of beauty and inner harmony. In the Dinka tribe, it may seem that everything is very simple and clear. The man is the head of the family, the woman is the keeper of the hearth, a typical patriarchy. But here lies the paradox. It is precisely the woman who acts as the hidden architect of the male status. Yes, men participate in elders' councils, herd the grazing animals, defend the tribe in battles with raiders, and make decisions, but every truly important decision, from the election of a new chief to the vengeance for a slain brother, always passes through the approval and gaze of the wife. In this culture, the woman, at first glance, remains in the shadow, but her shadow directs the script. And yes, this takes place in a tribe that the whole world considers deeply patriarchal. So when you see a tall Dinka warrior beside his bull, know this. His strength lies not only in his muscles and spear, but also in the wisdom of the woman who remains in the shadows, yet guides his life and destiny. Without maternal support and without the wife's approval, a man does not attain completeness. Every representative of the male gender must undergo a sacred trial that leaves an unforgettable mark on the body and symbolizes the final transition from childhood to adult life. These signs, real scars carved into the skin, serve not merely as decoration, but as proof of courage and readiness to take on responsibility. Among the Dinka, the transition from boy to adult person is not determined by age, but by a ritual in which the central element is scarification, deliberate, deep cuts, most often made on the forehead. For us, inhabitants of modern cities, this may seem exotic or even cruel, but for them it is a sacred rite of initiation, a connection to their ancestors, and confirmation of inner resilience. The young man must endure the greatest pain, never once cry out, never utter a piercing groan. Even furrowing his brow in pain is considered a sign of weakness. Each new mark on the forehead is another step toward adult life, a step toward responsibility, a step toward the right to speak among the elders. It is these scars, visible to everyone, that speak of true fortitude, maturity, and manhood. The master performing the ritual uses special, extremely sharp blades, and into the fresh wounds they immediately apply ash and other natural substances, so that the scars heal raised and highly defined. It is not a simple tattoo that can be erased. It is forever. It is the seal of the tribe, the seal of courage, and proof that one has earned the right to be considered a man. Without these marks, no matter how tall and strong you are, you will remain a boy. Your opinion will carry no weight at the elders' council. You will not be accepted as an equal in matters concerning cattle and negotiations. These scars are your ticket to adult life. Now you are ready to take responsibility for yourself, for your family, and for your herd. And the word herd here is key, because the herd is indeed the true driving force of life. We have already said that the Dinka never call their cattle property, because for them it is something far more significant. It is a full-fledged member of the family and the foundation of their world. For a Dinka man, a bull is not just an animal, but his soul and spiritual companion. Every young man, after completing the initiation ritual, receives a bull as a gift, which becomes his true friend and companion. The name that such a bull may be given becomes a musician and a poet. He sings songs about his beauty and strength, and he sleeps next to him when the herd grazes on the meadow. The color and shape of this bull's horns become part of the man's identity. He may even adopt a second name related to the name of his favorite animal. A man's status in the tribe is measured not only by the number of livestock heads, although that is also important, but also by his bond with the bulls. How carefully his is tended, how powerful his songs about bulls are, and how deeply he understands their nature and behavior. For the Dinka, livestock is simultaneously currency. They use cows as a bride price. It is food, milk, blood, and meat, and at festive celebrations it is fuel. Dung is used as combustible, ash for cosmetics, and urine as an antiseptic and for lightening hair. But the most important thing is the spiritual axis. To lose a bull is a tragedy comparable to losing a family member. For cattle theft, one can be killed without hesitation. In a world where there are no banks or stocks, livestock is everything. Your history, your security, your path to marriage, your status, and your legacy. And until you undergo the scar ritual and establish an unbreakable bond with your bull, you will not become a full member of this single, very tall and ashy family of South Sudan. As you already know, the country in which the Dinka live is South Sudan. There are many other tribes in the region, but the Dinka are the most numerous ethnic group. They live on both sides of the mighty Nile, and thanks to their cattle-related culture, neighboring tribes even call them the tribe with horns. Curiously, each Dinka family can recognize its cows by the curvature of the long horns. The horns take shape from infancy, and each clan gives them a special form unique to that clan. When a boy finally becomes a man, he receives a second name, the name of his bull. Cattle breeding in Dinka culture coexists organically with agriculture, and these two activities occupy them alternately depending on the season. From May to November, when heavy rains fall in South Sudan, the tribe moves to the floodplain and savanna to cultivate grains, tobacco, and vegetables. But when the rainy season ends and the level of the Nile drops, the Dinka return with their cattle to the pastures that begin to dry out in the river's lowlands until the next rainy season. The Dinka ethnic group is one of the least studied, yet at the same time, one of the most amazing and fascinating peoples on the entire African continent. They practically do not use the achievements of modern civilization. The only thing that has penetrated into their way of life from outside is firearms. Rifles and the legendary Kalashnikov automatic weapons serve them for protecting valuable livestock, intimidating neighboring tribes, and repelling any attacks. Their way of life has essentially remained the same as it was in the 10th century, and in all likelihood, it will remain practically unchanged for at least several more centuries. However, if one thinks about it, we ourselves have not fundamentally changed either. We have merely replaced our herd with bank accounts, and our scars with titles and positions. This people does not show us backwardness, but rather reveals a different facet of humanity that one is unlikely to see in the evening news. If you found this story interesting and informative, give it a like and subscribe. It's up to you, but you certainly will not regret it. After all, there are many more such stories ahead of us that simply must be told to the world.